A probe with a return ticket, that's what Voyager 2 has become. Launched nearly 5 decades ago, it was meant to be humanity's messenger. A machine destined to slip quietly into the abyss beyond our solar system. Most people believed that after crossing the heliopause, the invisible border where the sun's influence ends, it would simply become a silent observer, sending back faint whispers from the void. But something has changed. Something Voyager 2 saw out there was never supposed to move. Something that wasn't supposed to be there at all. For years, its journey through the interstellar medium had been uneventful. It measured particles, monitored magnetic fields, and drifted in cosmic silence. But then the silence broke. Amid the background noise, the probe picked up a motion, deliberate and unmistakable, drifting in the darkness. Something was moving with purpose. And when scientists decoded the strange anomalies sent back to Earth, a chilling realization began to take hold. Voyager 2 was not alone. The probe had long passed the last planets, beyond Neptune, beyond Pluto, when its instruments detected the anomaly. At first, NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory thought the blip in the plasma wave data was a glitch, maybe caused by cosmic rays or system degradation. After all, the spacecraft is nearly 50 years old. But when the same signal repeated, stronger and clearer each time, it was impossible to dismiss. The rhythm wasn't random. It wasn't natural. It pulsed like a pattern, like a broadcast. Voyager 2 had seen something, and it had recorded it. When analysts cleaned up the data, what they found sent shockwaves through the scientific community. There was an object, roughly 500,000 kilometers from the probe, moving at a velocity that made no sense. There are no asteroid belts in that region, no rogue planets, no comets expected. And yet this thing wasn't drifting aimlessly, it was tracking. Its trajectory matched Voyager's, adjusting its speed slightly to remain in range, as if it were stalking. Panic spread quickly. Independent astronomers and even military observatories confirmed the readings. This wasn't a malfunction. Plasma density spikes, magnetometer shifts, and even faint fluctuations in the probe's gyroscopes all pointed toward one conclusion. Voyager 2 had company. And that company was deliberate. But the most disturbing revelation wasn't the movement, it was the signal. A burst of radio frequency, piggybacked on Voyager's regular telemetry feed, carried data the probe was never programmed to transmit. When decrypted, the transmission revealed a series of binary strains. Plotted visually, they formed geometric shapes, spirals, recursive loops, glyph-like patterns eerily reminiscent of symbols found throughout human history. These weren't cosmic waves or background static. They were constructed. Artificial intelligence systems, linguists, and astrophysicists analyzed the data, and the results were sobering. The structure of the signal matched what one would expect from an intentional transmission, something not from Voyager, but something else, something that had embedded itself into the probe's signal stream. Whether it was a warning, a message, or something far more sinister, no one could be certain. But the implication was undeniable. Voyager 2 had encountered intelligence, and it had noticed us. The scientific community fractured. Some hailed this as the proof humanity had been waiting for, that we are not alone in the cosmos. Others were far less optimistic, fearing this was not first contact but surveillance, maybe even a prelude to something worse. The discovery became even more alarming when researchers revisited Voyager 1's old data. Buried in its archives, they found an anomaly almost identical to Voyager 2's, dismissed at the time as static. Decades apart, in the same region of interstellar space, the same thing had happened. At the Deep Space Network, engineers continued to monitor the incoming transmissions. One unfiltered stream of electromagnetic readings revealed something extraordinary. At first it looked like interference, but when enhanced, the signal showed a precise sequence, pulsing with mathematical symmetry. Fourier analysis revealed inverted harmonics of hydrogen, the universe's most abundant element, as though the signal were manipulating the building block of stars to speak. This wasn't an accident. Someone was trying to communicate. And perhaps the most terrifying discovery of all was that the signal seemed to shift with Voyager's path. It wasn't random. It was following. Tracking. Watching. Decades ago, Voyager carried with it a golden record, a message from humanity meant for the unknown. Now, it seems the unknown has answered. In hindsight, it no longer looked like a random distortion. It looked like a first encounter. When scientists revisited the old Voyager 1 logs using modern AI decoding systems, the anomalies that had once been dismissed suddenly revealed a hidden pattern. The waveform matched Voyager 2's recent findings with eerie precision. This was no coincidence. Something had been waiting in the darkness, and it had encountered both Voyager probes. The implication was terrifying. This wasn't the first time we had been noticed. Using advanced modeling, researchers tried to reconstruct the anomaly's path. But its trajectory defied the laws of physics. It didn't arc the way a comet would, nor drift like an asteroid. Instead, its course bent in ways that suggested space itself was being warped. Every attempt to explain the movement using conventional science failed. Even more disturbing, the object seemed to accelerate and decelerate at will, reacting not to gravity, but to Voyager's own transmissions. It wasn't passive. It was listening. Some scientists began to ask a darker question. What if Voyager 2 hadn't discovered this thing at all? What if it had provoked it? The probe's magnetometer began registering violent fluctuations in the surrounding fields, bursts of energy so sharp they hinted at active manipulation of magnetism itself. Whispers spread that this was no natural event. Then a report leaked from inside NASA suggesting the disturbances resembled energy distortions theorized in exotic propulsion research. The shapes resembled toroidal patterns, similar to those predicted for hypothetical warp drives. Could it be that Voyager had stumbled across technology capable of bending the fabric of spacetime itself? If true, the implications were staggering. The pulses weren't fading, they were intensifying. And with each surge came a chilling reminder. We were never alone. Back on Earth, the mystery deepened. Radio telescopes in Chile, South Africa, and Australia began to detect faint echoes, barely audible beneath the cosmic hum, yet their timing was unmistakable. The distortions pulsed in exact synchrony with Voyager 2's transmissions, as though something out there was mirroring the probe's activity. The phenomenon became known among analysts as the phantom pulse. Attempts to triangulate its source failed, but the message was clear. This was not a local anomaly confined to one spacecraft. It was something larger, spreading across vast regions of space. The pulse was not only intelligent but strategic. It seemed designed to be noticed, but only once humanity had the ability to understand. And that realization changed everything. Why now? Why after decades of silence? Voyager 2 had been drifting for nearly half a century, expected to fade quietly into the background of interstellar space. Yet only now, as Earth's artificial intelligence and quantum decoding matured enough to read the signals, did the anomaly reveal itself. To some, this was no accident, it was an invitation. To others, it was a trap. Behind closed doors, governments began to panic. Media blackouts silenced private observatories. Independent researchers suddenly found their projects cancelled. Labs that had been analyzing deep space signals were abruptly redirected. In the halls of classified agencies, the debate shifted from, "What is it?" to, "Why did it choose this moment? If it had been watching this for decades, why respond now?" Had our own technology reached a threshold that made us visible? Or had we unknowingly awakened something that had been waiting for this exact moment? Voyager 2, once considered a relic of the space age, had become the trigger for a revelation that shattered the illusion of human isolation. The strange object, the mirrored transmissions, the encoded frequencies, none of it fit within the boundaries of current science. Something was out there, not light years away in some unreachable galaxy, but within the shadows of our own cosmic neighborhood. And perhaps the most unsettling truth was the timing. It had not revealed itself when Voyager was launched. Not when it passed Neptune. Not even when it first crossed into interstellar space. It had chosen now, at the very moment when humanity had just enough knowledge to recognize what was happening. The question is no longer whether we are alone. The question is what exactly we have awakened. Because this story is not finished. Another signal could come at any moment. And when it does, it won't just alter our understanding of the universe. It could change the future of our species.